So let's talk about a relatively new feature of Azure ExpressRoute that's called ExpressRoute Direct. Now, ExpressRoute requires you to go through an internet service provider to connect to the Azure network. But through ExpressRoute Direct, you can actually connect directly with Microsoft to apply to connect directly to their global Microsoft backbone. Microsoft currently has around 150 edge locations around the world. That's outside of the regions that they have, virtual machines hosted. And so if you're close to one of those 150 edge locations, you can just get your servers directly onto the Microsoft network through ExpressRoute Direct. One of the advantages, of course, is you're going to get even higher speeds. So instead of having to go through an internet exchange provider to get your computer servers onto the Azure network, you go directly to Microsoft and it gets you some blazing speeds. So the two speeds available for ExpressRoute Direct are the 10 gigabits per second and 100 gigabits per second. Obviously, that's a huge jump, and 100 gigabits per second is a massive amount of speed. Now, the way this is provisioned is slightly different. When you go through regular ExpressRoute, you're getting a circuit, what's called an ExpressRoute circuit, at a provisioned speed. So if you've got a 1 gigabit per second ExpressRoute circuit, that's the single circuit, and that's the speed that you got. With the ExpressRoute Direct, you're provisioning 10 gigabits or 100 gigabits per second, and you get to build up multiple circuits. So within that 10 gigabits per second, theoretically you could get a single 5 gigabits per second, a couple of 2 gigabits per second, and a 1 gigabit per second. Take those 4 lines together to build up to your 10 gigabits per second, and you end up with 4 circuits. That means you can connect them to different networks for different purposes. For the 100 gigabits per second, you can take that 100 gigabits directly in a single circuit, or you can put in some multiple 10 gigabit per second circuits in there, etc. Now, why do you need 100 gigabits per second? Well, the most obvious answer is for those situations where you have massive data ingestion requirements into Azure. So let's say that you have a massive data lake sitting within Microsoft Azure. You've got some big data services running that is processing data in your data lake, and you need that data to be flowing from your network into Azure, and you need that 100 gigabits per second connection to get all that data in there. Well, that would be one example of what you would use an ExpressRoute Direct for. Now, do keep in mind that the 100 gigabits per second might sound great, but that's very specialized network hardware. The 100 gigabit per second standard for the internet only came about less than 10 years ago, and so you're going to need to have hardware that connects, to get onto this 100 gigabits per second network that operates at those speeds. The same is for the 10 gigabits per second circuits as well. You have to have a 10 gigabit per second circuit in your network internally in order to connect to that speed. So otherwise, it's no point to doing that.